Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Frenemies. Joined as always by David Swor. I am DJ Cox, and today, David, got a good old college buddy of ours, JC Groves, is in the house tonight. And JC, thank you so much for joining us, buddy. It's been a long
Thanks for
time.
having me.
We're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. I can totally tell. Where'd that Braves hat go, by the way?
My head was sweating. I don't know where it went actually.
Well, hey guys, I feel a little outnumbered here. I'm gonna tell you one thing. If Simon Cowell were standing here right now and we started singing for him, I would be the guy that would totally be made fun of because you two can
Prove it.
totally sing.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Yep.
Oh, I
Let's
got
hear it.
nothing.
We'll decide.
I'd get booted out, man, and you two were phenomenal. However, I think if we got in an octagon together, I would probably win. I'm just saying. So we'll trade that off. No?
Debatable.
Hey, we proved that on plenty of van trips, wrestling matches in vans. I don't know how we didn't get a bunch of injuries, but me and DJ went at it quite a bit.
That is for sure, man. No doubt about it. All right, guys. Well, we got a fun episode tonight. JC is a Atlanta Braves fan, as you saw by the hat that came up there. So we're going to talk some Braves tonight. We're going to talk some Yankees, and we're going to very quickly talk some Cubs. No, David, you're going to keep going on this, aren't you? Okay. Well, the deadline is in a few days, and David has already come up with about 40 scenarios that are going to ruin the Cubs. So I can't wait to get to that. But you know what, David? This is what we're going to start with. We're going to go with the Yankees first because I want to hear, what's been going on in Yankee land. It's been a little while since we've done one. I want to see if you're excited about the trade that they just made for Clay Holmes.
DJ,
Take it over, buddy.
I'm just as miserable as you are. The Yankees, they're still being the Yankees, streaky. Come out of the All-Star break after beating the Astros and the Mariners in consecutive series, so feeling pretty good about it. They come out, take 2 or 3 from the Red Sox, go and sweep the Phillies, which sets up another series versus the Red Sox this weekend. Honestly, the Yankees were kind of knocking on the door, and we're back to being the Yankees. Lost 3 out of 4 to the Red Sox. The bullpen is a disaster. Let me say this: it's a miracle the Yankees were winning. I don't know if you've paid attention to the Yankees lineup here lately, but we're without Judge right now from COVID. We're without Gio Urshela from COVID. So to be honest with you, Clint Frazier went down. He's having a vision problem. We've been running a lineup out there that honestly looks like a AAA lineup, but it's changed the team. We went with speed and defense, and the pitching has, other than the bullpen, has been really awesome. But Aroldis Chapman is a mess. Zach Britton is a mess. Loizaga has been on the DL. He came back and blew 2 games consecutively. Chad Green was the closer. He's blown 2 saves. DJ, it's tough times in New York right now. So, the question is, do you blow it up, which they don't seem like they want to do, or do you try to win, which Hal Steinbrenner doesn't seem to want to do? So I don't know, man. It's a hard call. They don't really have a whole lot of tradable pieces at this point, unless you want to trade Aaron Judge, who's the face of the franchise, which I don't think that's going to happen. So it's been pretty rough in Yankee land, guys.
So one of the things that has been swirling big time around the Yankees, David, is Trevor Story. This one keeps swirling. They're talking to Trevor Story, trying to get him over from Colorado. I don't know what that'll take to get Trevor Story, but the Yankees seem to be, like you just said, they're not going to sell. They're buyers right now. They're pretty far out of it. However, we did talk about they're close in the wild card, so that's kind of what's keeping them together, and they're not going to sell. But they're 3.5 back of the wild card last time I checked. So what do you think about Trevor Story? How would he fit in a Yankee uniform?
Well, in a lot of ways, he would fit great, and so that would make me be for it. But the problem is he's not signed past this year. There's no way, DJ, I'm blowing my prospects on a guy for 2 months to maybe make the playoffs. Not doing it. Now, there's another rumor floating around today. I don't know if you guys have seen this. You'll love this, but Trey Turner may be on the block. Now, if I'm going to blow a bunch of prospects on somebody and I need a shortstop, that's what he signed for an extra year. So I would love to see something like that happen. But I'm not trading anything any good for a rental, not for this team.
Yeah, that's a big rumor going around too. I did not hear about Trey Turner, but the Nationals are a team that come this week, at the end of the week, if they're out of it, so to speak, they got a lot of pieces like Max Scherzer, Trey Turner. that could go, and that could really change the dynamic of the playoff race here. So Clay Holmes comes over from the Pirates to the Yankees. 4.94 ERA this year, 44 Ks and 42 innings. He's got a career 5.57 ERA. I think, David, what they did this for, and they gave away 2 prospects, none of which were in their top 30. But I think that they see the upside on the 98-mile-an-hour sinker, which is nasty. If you throw a 98-mile-an-hour sinker, you're pretty legit. So they're trying to find, I guess, trying to get it out of him, so to speak. Things change when you change the scenery. And we've talked about it before. When you get out of Pittsburgh, sometimes that's the key to a person's career to kind of get them going. So what'd you think of that trade?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it. Did you guys watch the game the Yankees had where they were in win now mode, according to Aaron Boone? 10th inning versus the Red Sox. We throw Brooks Kriske out there, 4 wild pitches. Four
wild pitches.
Yeah, it was awesome. He wasn't anywhere close to the plate. It's ridiculous. And so, yes, I'm for them making this trade as long as he doesn't have to pitch again the rest of the year. The 2 guys they gave up, they're just clearing up roster space, so I didn't care. They're like career minor leaguers. So, yeah, I mean, it's worth a shot. Obviously, a little thin in the bullpen right now. Things are kind of a mess. So, yeah, I don't have any problem with it.
JC, I was a center fielder, and I'm pretty sure that if they brought me into pitch, I would not throw 4 wild pitches in the inning. Just saying. I don't know how that happens.
I'm pretty sure. When's the last time you played baseball? In 2000?
Yeah.
I don't think you would uncork.
I don't think I would have
pitches.
done it either. There's a good chance, though.
Yeah, no kidding, man. So, well, it'll be interesting, though, David, to see what they do by Friday. They are not sellers. Unfortunately, I can't come on here and destroy your roster like you're about to do mine because I don't believe for 1 second that the Yankees are going to sell. So we'll transition softly over to the Cubs. I'm going to talk for a few minutes here, just about a few things. So, number one, I really loved the comeback win against the Cardinals the other day, down 6-1 in the 9th inning. Took a 7-6 lead and won that game. However, we lost 3 out of 4 to the Cardinals, which really hurts. That's not a good thing at all. We did play the Diamondbacks, won 2 out of 3 in Arizona and won 2 out of 3 at home. However, we're not gaining any ground because the Brewers are on fire. They just took 2 out of 3 from the White Sox. We cannot close the gap on them at all. They swept the Reds out of the All-Star break, which hurt the Reds and the Cubs badly. Did a lot of damage in the division there. The Brewers are on fire, and I'm telling you guys right now, I'm going to be the first one to kind of say this. The Brewers are going to make a lot of noise before Friday. They are going to destroy the trade deadline in a lot of ways. They're going to win a lot of things there, unfortunately, and it's going to look even worse for the Cubs after they are done with that. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to throw any names to them, but they are going to do something big. I promise you that. The Cubs. So I know what everybody wants to talk about with them is everybody on their roster is pretty much up for grabs. And I will say right now, Andrew Chafin and Craig Kimbrell are going to go. Okay, I get that. We're going to trade those 2 relievers. We're going to bring back some prospects. Hopefully nothing to the major league roster because I don't think that makes any sense. But they will get some prospects for them. And that's all I'm saying, man. I think that's it. And
right.
This is where
DJ,
David comes in and destroys my dreams and says everybody's going to get traded. So I'll hand it over to you now.
Well, let's talk through this. JC, you seem like a reasonable person.
Yes,
so here's the Cubs' options. Let's just take Chris Bryant, for instance, who's making about $20 million a year. He's got about
He's coming.
He's got about $4 million left in the year. So, like I said, just to take emotion out of it, should you keep said $4 million guy and still be 10 games out at the end of the year? Should you trade $4 million guy who you're not going to keep, by the way? Get some prospects that are lottery tickets and let them pay him. Well, to the normal person, you would trade. But me and DJ argued to the death the other day. And so I've got to throw this back so all of our listeners can hear this. Let's listen to DJ's logic when it comes to trading stars. Go ahead, DJ.
You want this? Okay. So I'm talking from a perspective of Chris Bryant. If you want to go, I was talking about Trevor Story in particular for Colorado. Okay. But we can transition this over to the Cubs too, because this is how I feel about this situation too. Okay. I do not want to trade Chris Bryant to the Braves, okay, and get your third baseman back, who is okay at best, and they'll just give was JD who's the third baseman?
Austin Riley.
Austin
Yeah.
Riley, okay, are to the Mets, JD Davis, okay, the Mets are floating around a lot. I don't want JD Davis and 2 prospects for Chris Bryant. I just don't. Why do I want JD Davis? No, I don't want him. Instead, what I want to do is keep Chris Bryant, get the draft pick, and use all that money that I was going to sign Chris Bryant with on 2 studs in free agency that I can go choose who I want and not be picked apart by 3 or 4 random teams who are coming at me with JD Davises of the world, who I don't want. Like, why would I want JD Davis? No offense, but no, I don't want that. And I don't want your prospect who's going to rot in Double-A and never make the pros either. Or come
Wait,
up
just stop.
terrible.
Let's back it up a little bit. So why wouldn't you take my prospects, save the $4 million, and then take the money that you were going to pay Bryant and put it in the same 2 free agents you're going to put it in anyway? The only thing is you're not out the $4 million you would have paid in the rest of the year, and you're up 2 extra prospects. Why wouldn't you do that?
Because I don't want the major league contract coming back to me. I don't want the JD Davis contract coming back to me.
Then don't take it.
Well, then the trade won't happen. That's the thing. It's like they won't do those kind of trades unless they're going to get – if they trade Chris Bryant, they are not going to bring back just prospects in a trade for Chris Bryant. You're going
you can
to bring
if
back,
your GM's not an idiot. That's what I'm going to say to that. I mean, why would you do that? Well, let's just jump into the fun part of the show. So here's where everybody's going. JC, Chris Bryant is going to be a Brave. Yep. I am convinced that the Braves are going to make a big run. I know it doesn't seem like it right now. They got a bunch of guys injured, but I'm convinced that the Braves are going to make a run. I think the Mets, they're going to get some players as well, but I still believe that the Braves are the best team in that division. They've just been injured all year.
Okay, so
Bryant to the Braves.
Let me ask you then, JC. This is where you can kind of come into the mix here a little bit. So, if I'm giving you Chris Bryant, what are the Braves legitimately going to give me back to make this happen? Like, how is this going to work? Is there a guy on your major league roster right now that you're going to shop and you're going to throw prospects at me, or are you just going to throw all prospects at me? Like, how is this trade going to work?
I would think they'd throw Riley out there with some prospects. Because, I mean, Riley's good, but he's young, and I think that he's going to do that. Here's the other one that I think Riley is coming, but I think they're also going to do a big blockbuster move and go for the Pittsburgh Pirate All-Star Brian Reynolds. I think they're going to go after him also. I mean, he's 26 years old. The guy's 17 home runs. He's got like 50, 60 RBIs. So I see him and Chris Bryant coming over.
Woo!
They're buying, baby. They're still in this. I mean, by going out and get what's the guy's name? Steven, is it Vok or Vogue? I can't say his last name. I don't know. Getting him and then getting your other guy, Jock. You know, they're still in this to win it. They give Freddie that contract. I mean, we only have 4 starters from opening day that are still in. Yeah. I mean, and then we get rid of Riley, that'll be 3 down. But hey, we're going all the way, baby.
Yeah, I'm still a believer, man. The Braves are deep, and again, if I'm trading from the Cubs, think about it this way, DJ. They should at least get the equivalent of a 2nd round and a 5th round draft pick, right? Mm-hmm. So a 2nd rounder would probably typically be a top 10, top 15 prospect, and everything after that's going to be on the lower end. They're lottery tickets, and so that's what I think you can expect to get in a trade. With someone, you're probably going to get a top 10 prospect and then 1 or 2 lower level guys, but it's not nothing. I mean, that's the point. It's not nothing, which is what they're going to get. They're going to pay Chris Bryant to get the same package back for the next 2 months and still be 10 games out at the end of the year. So,
and we're all going to be excited because the Cubs are going to look like the Cubs again.
Listen, I will take a day off work to have a trade deadline show. That night. It would be. Oh,
y'all need to do it. I'll watch.
Because the second thing that's going to happen that I'm going to love.
Here we go.
Rizzo is going. Rizzo is going to the Red Sox. TJ.
Yeah, he is.
It's happening.
Who are we keeping out of this core? Are we just destroying the whole team and who are we keeping?
Start over.
Re-sign him next year.
Trade him and then re-sign him. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, why would you want to keep any core out of this team, DJ? The last time they were good was 2016.
Okay, now that's my
Boom,
problem.
roasted.
That's my problem. Shut your mouth. 2014 is the last time that we were bad. The 2014 season. We've had 6 consecutive great seasons. Okay. We are no longer that team that is going to blow it up and bring it back. Why would we do that? We are in the same class as the Yankees now. We are up in that where we're not. Why would we ever rebuild? Like, we're never going to that stage in our. It's not going to happen. Like, why would we do that? What in your who are we gonna like? Are you saying we're keeping Baez? You're getting rid of Rizzo. You're getting rid of Bryant. You're just getting rid of Contreras while we're at it. I mean, I've heard you say Kyle Hendricks is going too. Like, who are we keeping? Like, are we just blowing the whole team up?
Well,
this is like thinking Tennessee Temple could play with the SEC back in the day, guys.
Hey, we only lost 17-0 to them.
You're right.
It's just going to be a great trade deadline. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Hey, by the way, JC, I love Brian Reynolds. I wish Brian Reynolds played for the Yankees. He's a lefty, high average guy, great on defense. I mean, he's just a baseball player, which is, to be honest with you, that's what the Yankees are missing. Yankees are
and he's young.
Yeah, exactly. A couple more years of team control. That's a guy that's going to take some prospects to get because he's got
big time
control for a couple of years. But I love Brian Reynolds.
I agree, man. And I'm going to get off of this Cubs thing because you're getting me fired up here. My blood pressure's getting high. I do want to transition to the Braves, JC. And so I want you to kind of give a little perspective for this part of the show on this season in particular. What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously there's 2 major things that have happened to this team that could really destroy this team, and that's Acuna and Ozuna going down for their specific reasons. It has to hurt. But tell me how this team can recover from that, move on. And I don't know if you saw, but the Braves were my pick in the preseason to beat the Astros in the World Series. And I'm sticking to that. I still think that they're going to make this happen. They're too good not to. I think they're going to win this division. I don't believe in the Mets. So you take it over, man. Talk about the Braves for us.
And I don't know. I kind of feel like the All-Star game kind of set the tone, like having it yanked out of Atlanta right at the beginning of the season. It kind of just put a weird funk on everything. I know as far as a fan base, I mean, we were all kind of like, I had tickets for it. I was ready to go. I was supposed to be sitting there at the Home Run Derby, and I mean, I've had those tickets for a long time. And so there's just it was like this weird vibe. And it's almost like there was like this vendetta that was out there at the beginning of the season where everybody was just ticked off that it got taken away, and we didn't really care about the game. It was like, why did we lose the All-Star game? And now that we're on the other half, and then who would have thought? It's almost like the curse has been there. I mean, we lose Ronald, we lose Ozzy because he's, having domestic stuff. Everybody goes down. I mean, we only have 4 opening day starters playing right now with Freddie, with Dansby, with Ozzy, and with Riley. And so, I mean, 4 people, I mean, there's everybody else on the field was not here on opening day. And so there's just I really feel like we need to also go and get some bullpen help. I mean, our pitching, getting rid of Minter, getting rid of a couple of those guys was probably the best thing they could have done. I mean, you always hate when guys just lose it, but pitching, it was terrifying when you had to go to the bullpen and know that it's probably going to, I mean, the last 2 years they're bringing in Luke Jackson. He's going to throw a slider and it's coming. I mean, that's what he's going to throw. And, I mean, guys like that, but despite a sub 500 record, I mean, losing Ronald, that was pretty bad. Picking up Jock, picking up Steven, whatever. We just reinstated Ender. I mean, he was placed on the COVID thing. I mean, that is a good, solid veteran in the outfield. I don't know if he'll make it back up there. I mean, he's got like a $8.7 million contract. So he may come back, but I feel like they have an opportunity right now they're buying, to put some pieces out there that could really take us far. I like that they're going and getting some veterans. It's not, younger guys that are newer to the game, but it's guys that have been around for quite a while. With Jock, I think they bring leadership. I mean, they put Panda, and I mean, he's kind of filled a role in the clubhouse that, what's the white dude that played for the Blue Jays, third baseman, long hair, he's mean dude, crazy guy. He was our third baseman last year.
Donaldson.
Donaldson, yeah. Donaldson, even though he's a punk, I mean, he brought life to that, clubhouse. And there was just a weird vibe that was there. And when Panda came, I mean, they're doing the crazy antics. He's putting on the Panda hat and all this stuff. And, but it's young kids that are part of this team that are down now, and just the morale being down. I think, part of me almost wish we'd get Kimbrel back. And, have him as a good closer. It's like the Braves always have this thing. We trade people and they become superstars. And there's this feel like, why did we trade them? Why couldn't they be good here? And so, I'd love to see Kimbrel come back and have that closer feel. I just looking at it, I think getting a couple of these pieces would be really good, and just getting over this curse of whatever 2021 is. I mean, it's Atlanta sports. Let's be honest. It's going to happen at some point. Everybody's getting their hopes up, and we've been saying for 3 years now, this team's really good. This could be the team. This could be the team. And we've been saying that since 95, and it just doesn't feel like it's the team ever. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just like watching it and hope they do better.
I got to ask, JC, I've asked this to all of our Braves fans, which it seems like have been a lot. What's your vibe with Brian Snitker? What are your thoughts on him?
Dadgum, man. I mean, part of me likes him, and then other parts of me, I'm like, what is he doing? I mean, is he awake down there? I mean, one, he looks like our mascot Blooper. So I don't know if they made it after. I'm so glad he got his 400th win as a coach. I mean, I love that we've honored him being, in the organization for a long time. He's earned his stripes, if you will. I mean, he's in there now, but he just doesn't make some good calls sometimes. And then there's other times where he'll stand up for Ronald, and he'll go out there, that's my kid, and he gets passionate about it, and you're like, oh, it just bought him another week. I like him, and I think really he has a great relationship with the players. It's almost like in any kind of thing, you always want to put people in underneath you that are better than you. I mean, we've got, with Ron Washington there, I think Ron Washington's a daggum better coach than Snicker will ever be. And then, Walt Weiss is in there too, which he was a great coach. I mean, who did Walt coach? I don't even remember who he. Colorado. That's right. I remember him playing. But I mean, Ron Washington, I think if Snit went down, Washington could step right in and be a daggum good coach. I would almost go on the record to say, if we don't win it this year, that this will be Snit's last year. I mean, this is going on year 3, almost 4, that everybody's like, we're good. We got talent, and we always just seem to come up. We got the daggum infield fly for the St. Louis Cardinals year, or last year we blow it 12-0 in the first inning. I mean, it's just little things like that he obviously can't control, but it's just how he manages the games at times is a real head scratcher. And so I almost feel like if this year ends up like the last 4, he's gone. So I don't know. Braves fans, we go back and forth about that all the time. So.
The division's up for grabs, man, and the Mets are not running this by any means. And the Braves haven't played their best baseball yet this year. And they're still, I believe, 4 back last time I checked, and they're right there with the Phillies. And this division, like we talked about this before the season started, that this was going to be top to bottom, like the closest division we thought in the entire league and in the entire game of baseball, actually. And it has kind of gone that way. So it'll be interesting to see what those teams do at the deadline, because the Nationals, I think everybody keeps saying the Nationals and the Cubs are the 2 teams. Like, what are they going to do to kind of, because they got so many studs that could go in so many different directions to kind of make everybody better, so to speak, and make pushes for the World Series here. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do. So we'll transition a little bit here, David. So a few guys that are on the block here that I've been just a couple guys I wanted to mention. Byron Buxton's been out there a lot. His name's been circling. He says he wants to sign an extension with the Twins. However, they're not sure they're wanting to sign him, so he may be on the block this week. Trevor Story's a big name floating around. We talked about the Yankees with him. Craig Kimbrel will eventually go to somebody. JC wants him to go back to Atlanta. That makes sense. You give us some prospects, I'll take that trade. I like that one. Eric Hosmer, David. So this is something I read today. So with them bringing Adam Frazier, who you just talked about, Brian Reynolds, JC, and Adam Frazier right there with him. Pirates had 2 guys in the starting lineup at the All-Star game. Think of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're the worst team in baseball pretty much. So you got 2 awesome pieces there. They're probably both going because that's what the Pirates do. Frazier to the Padres. And you look at that lineup with the Padres and like, where's this guy going to fit in? You have no clue where he's going to go. Well, I just read Hosmer's on the block, which is crazy to think. He's got a huge contract, 3 years left on it. But who do you sit, But these things tend to work out. They tend to, work themselves out, so to speak. Somebody might get injured and it'll just kind of look normal then and he'll fill right in. But you got Tommy Pham, Trent Grisham. You got Will Myers out there in the outfield. Is he replacing one of those guys, or you're not replacing Cronenworth? It could be Hosmer. You got Tatis there and Machado. So you got 3 all-star infielders. Now you got Frazier. So you got your whole infield could be all-stars if you move Hosmer out of there. So that's crazy to think they got 4 infielders that are all-stars this year, which is unbelievable. But I don't know what they'll do with Hosmer. The Padres just keep getting better. I don't think they're done, man. I really don't. I think they're going to make another move here before the deadline. Unbelievable team there. They got a great team. Just kind of caught behind the Giants and the Dodgers right now all year long. They've been stuck there in 3rd place, but they will make the playoffs, and this team is for sure legit. So overall thoughts on those names, I'll throw a couple more at you. Jose Barrios, Dodgers and Padres are linked to him as well. Max Scherzer has been linked to the Yankees. He's been thrown around to the Mets as well. So what are your overall thoughts? I'll start with you, David, on those names I just mentioned. Anybody else you want to throw in there too?
Well, I'll start with Hosmer. I think it's going to be pretty tough to trade him, man. I mean, unless they're going to take a bad contract in return. I mean, who's going to sign up for Eric Hosmer at $18 million a year, $20 million a year for the next 3 years? I hope and pray the Yankees don't get sucked into that unless they're going to send somebody back that's got similar value. So I don't think Hosmer's going anywhere. I think the Padres are going to have no choice but to sit him and use him where they can. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out with the team chemistry. I would definitely watch out for the Padres on Barrios, which would make their future rotation, again, just that much more ridiculous. He's signed for another couple years. But I would keep an eye out on that happening. DJ, I saw today, Trevor Bauer, the Dodgers don't want him back. The team has decided, the majority of the players anyway, that they don't want him back at all. So that would be a great landing spot for Barrios. So we'll see. I do not buy Scherzer to the Yankees at all. I think he could end up with one of those teams, Dodgers or Padres. Mets would be a good fit there as well. The Mets are amazing, guys. They've been in a similar situation that the Braves have been in. Like, they can't keep anyone healthy, and yet they keep winning. And so, it'd be interesting to throw a name like Scherzer on the Mets, see what happens. So, it's going to be fun, man. I love the trade deadline. The landscape of baseball is going to change, at the drop of a hat. And some of those trades are going to be booms and some of them are going to be busts. How'd you guys like Nelson Cruz getting traded, hitting a home run in his first AB? And of course, the Rays win 4-3. That's what good trades are all about. So I love this time of year.
I would love to see Scherzer. I'd love to see Scherzer go to the Yankees just to get him out of here. I mean, he's too daggum good. Yeah, I don't think Bauer's ever going to play again in the MLB. I think he's got too much garbage on him with his whole podcast and stuff. He's going to end up in Japan, but if he does, I hope he stays out West Coast because he's got some nasty stuff on him right there. But
yeah.
I hope Scherzer goes to the Yankees. It's a pipe dream though.
Me and DJ are committed Trevor Bauer haters, and so
same.
We talked about that a little bit, and it's a touchy subject. But I wouldn't care if I ever saw him pitch again. That guy just got on my nerves anyway. And I'm so thankful my team didn't get sucked into that. But
man, there was a ton of Braves fans that wanted him here. I mean, Braves Twitter was blowing up trying to get him here, and he was. When he walked off at playing for the Reds after we blew him up, I was like, don't ever come back here, and people were like, we don't ever want him. And he's like, he said, I guess I'm not loved in Atlanta. And everybody's like, you're not, and then all this come out. It just kind of couldn't happen to a better team than the Dodgers though. So
yeah, exactly. Right. DJ. That's DJ's second favorite team. He jumped on that bandwagon
That's my
Come
bandwagon
on.
game here when we're about 10 games out like we are now, and I can't stand myself anymore. I got to jump on somebody, so it's always the Dodgers. And
That's what I just quit watching.
yeah, I can't do it, man. So, yeah, Trevor Bauer's season is over for sure. There's no way
Yeah.
he's coming back this year for the Dodgers, which the Dodgers, we talked about this last podcast a little bit. But Jackson Gray has come up and thrown a little bit from their Josiah Gray, I'm sorry, their top prospect there for the Dodgers pitch the other night. Did pretty decent. So Josiah Gray has been getting some innings there for the Dodgers to kind of fill that void. David Price has stepped in there a little bit too. Guys that were like their 6 and 7 starter. When you got those kind of guys as your 6 and 7 starter, you're in good shape. So the depth of that rotation has definitely come back to help them out. Jimmy Nelson's starting to throw a little bit more. May come into a starter role as well. So, and I don't think they're done either as far as going out and getting a starting pitcher. They have already said they're going to be active, so the Dodgers are going to make more noise as well here at the break. And let me just give a shout out to Chris Taylor, man. That guy's on fire since the All-Star break. He's got more home runs than anybody in the game. Just won the game for him the other night against Colorado pretty much by himself. What a stud. So those guys are doing really well. But it'll be interesting to see. This trade deadline is going to be loaded. I think there's going to be a ton of trades. I really do believe that. Normally, I'm kind of not too sure, but I really believe this year it's going to blow up to where there's a ton going on. So, all right. So, guys, I will transition here a little bit to the standings, and let's talk about this a little bit, David. So, we'll start in the American League East. Boston will start in your division. Boston has taken that division over, obviously, 62-39 in first place. Yeah, Tampa Bay, a game and a half back, like you said, just made the huge Nelson Cruz trade to solidify that offense even more, which is unbelievable to me. Yankees have gotten to third place there, 3.5 back in the wild card, 9.5 back in the division. Toronto is in fourth, 10.5 back, and then you got Baltimore in last place. So, David, what are your thoughts overall? Do you think there's any shot whatsoever that the Yankees win this division, or do you think they're only shooting solely for the wild card?
Yeah, they're only shooting for the wild card. And the reason why I believe that is the best team in the East is actually in second place right now. So if you look at run differential, Tampa Bay is about 40 runs ahead of where the Red Sox are. I think they're just a better team. The Red Sox have had a little bit better luck. Yankees, if they'll be lucky to make the wild card. There's no way they're going to get in the division conversation, I don't think.
Yeah, so, I mean, Tampa's made themselves better. It'll be interesting to see. I know Chris Sale's been throwing bullpens and throwing them really well, so he's coming back really quick for Boston. That's going to only help them make them better. It'll be interesting to see what these teams do. And Toronto's a little bit of a wild card there at 49-47, 4.5 back of the wild card. It'll be interesting to see if they make any moves with all the moves that they have made in the offseason to see if they get themselves any better. So, jumping over to the AL Central, you got the White Sox in first by 9 games over Cleveland. Stop smiling. What a stupid team. Actually, I'm going to bring this up here after I go through this stupid division here. Detroit, man, they have been on fire recently. They've been playing really good baseball. Come out of nowhere, basically. They don't have a shot of making the playoffs, obviously, but been playing really well. Put Kansas City down there in fourth place and the Twins in the cellar. So it'd be interesting if Jose Barrios and Buxton go. Those would be 2 big pieces that also go from the Central to contending teams as well. But I got to say, so David, JC, on, let's see, that would be August 11th, Target Field. You'll see me there watching the White Sox play the Twins at Target Field. I've already locked up tickets for that. That's going to be one of my stadiums this year to go to. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. I'm wondering, JC, while I'm talking about this, give me the number of stadiums that you have visited in your lifetime.
7.
7. Nice.
Into 7, yeah. So I got a picture here trying to get all of them. So we when I moved out to Salt Lake City, we stopped at the White Sox, we stopped at Wrigley, we stopped at the Royals.
Oh, thanks for calling.
Caught a game. Oh, my bad. Sorry. We stopped in Colorado, and we got to see the Cubs play the Braves at Wrigley. And then by the time we made it out to Colorado, they were there. We sat 2 rows behind home plate, and I had something going on in my chest. I was struggling bad. We saved all our money for that game. I didn't know if it's because we were mile high. I'd been sitting because I flew there. I drove to Utah, flew back, and was driving there. That was like day 6. I'd been in a car. And so I went up to the nurse's station at the Rocky Stadium in inning 3. I had a blood clot in my lung from sitting for so long, and so I didn't even get to finish the daggum game sitting 2 rows behind home plate at the Rockies Braves game. They put me in an ambulance and took me to the hospital, and so we got to get back to I put an asterisk next to the Rockies game because we still got to get back there. But when I was out in Utah, we got to go over to the Padres, went to the Dodgers, and so it's fun. I got to get to like the North, Yankees and Red Sox and all that up there. So maybe soon. It's something I want to do with my boys for sure, is get to all of them. So we'll get it eventually. But 7 right now.
7's not bad, man. That's a good start. It's like you got to kind of plan it when you're close. Like Padres and Dodgers, that was a good one on your part.
Yeah, actually 8. Braves obviously. So it's 8.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So real quick, how is that new field? Do you like it?
Dude, I love Truist Park.
Everybody does.
You don't feel like you're going to get murdered when you're parking. It actually is a baseball stadium. I love Turner Field. I named one of my kids Corbin Turner after Turner Field. It's just there, parking out there next to Hank's wall. Turner Field will always have a special place, but Truist Park, the Battery. My gosh. We go out there last year when we were in the playoffs, we went out there with Braves fans. You couldn't get in the stadium and just watch it. They got these massive screens and, it's a whole environment. Like it's a whole day. I love what they've done with the Battery Atlanta, with Truist Park. I kind of wish they'd name it Hank Aaron Field or something like that. But it's if they get the name right and honor Hank, I think it'd be all right. But at Truist Field, there's not a bad seat in that. We've literally tried to sit. We were season ticket holders 2 years ago. And, we only lived an hour and 15 minutes away from it. Now that I'm in South Georgia, I'm 3 hours away. And I used to think we were far away when we lived up in Ringgold. Now that we're in South Georgia, I'm like, dadgum, 3 hours to get there. But we tried to sit at every different spot. There really isn't a bad seat in the ballpark. I love it.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool to hear that. I look forward to going to that one eventually. It's obviously way better than that dump Turner Field was. So,
a million times better.
To the AL West, Houston is in first, and Dave, they have kind of separated themselves from the A's a little bit here, who are 5.5 back, and we called that. We knew that they would win this division. The A's are ahead in the wild card, though, so they're not out of it completely. I still think that they're going to fall out of the playoffs. Seattle, man. I read a rumor today about Seattle, David, and this one got me fired up, hoping they come to the Cubs instead of Seattle. Whit Merrifield. You know how I love my boy Whit. A lot of rumors flying about him going to Seattle, man. That would be really good for them. Those guys are just a bunch of gamers, man. They just go at it. They are completely flying in this race here. The Angels are at 500, 5.5 back in the wild card. Interesting team, Shohei and all that, and Texas is way out of it. Joey Gallo's another name being thrown around, and also to the Yankees. I've heard that name thrown to the Yankees as well. So what are your thoughts to the AL West, David?
Yeah, it's shaking out about how we thought it would. It is pretty cool to see Seattle bumping up there and, challenges. I think they're only a game and a half out of the wild card. That's pretty crazy. And I don't think anybody would have predicted that to start the season. They're kind of in rebuild mode. So I expect them to be active. They got a load of prospects. I don't figure they'll cash all of them in or anything, but it would be cool to see them make a move for someone like Whit Merrifield, maybe another pitcher. Their pitching's a little shaky, I think. Scherzer, one of those guys would fit well in Seattle.
So JC, I'm going to talk to you about this division, the NL East. So the Mets are on top there, about 4 games up on the Phillies, 5 games up on the Braves, 8 on the Nationals, and the Miami is kind of they're in shambles. They're 11 back. So JC, you talked about the Braves getting back into this. Which one of those teams out of the top 4 are the ones that worry you the most to not winning this division?
The Phillies always worry me the most just because they've gone out and gotten some really good players. You got Bryce, you've got, McCutcheon. Phillies always seem to have our number. I think COVID has really put a hurting on the Mets. Half their team has been down and out forever. They've got some big sluggers on there, but there's always something about the Phillies that, they always seem to rise to the occasion. I see the Mets. they're kind of iffy. If they can keep a lead. I mean, it's always almost like the last few seasons they've kept that lead and then they die off. But the Phillies, they just surge and they continue to go. I mean, they got some great pitching. They're well rounded all the way around. I think if there's going to be a run, it'll be obviously the Braves, but the Phillies will be right there with them for sure.
I agree, man. Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler are just studs.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, man. What a great season he's had so far. So transitioning to the Central, I talked about this before. The Brewers, unfortunately, man, are just running away with this thing and are going to make a ton of noise here at the top. Be interesting to see what the Reds do before Friday. They are 5.5 back of the wild card, 6.5 back of Milwaukee, and have normally played Milwaukee really good this year, except for out of the gate. They got swept, and that really hurt them because they could have gotten really close to the Brewers there and kind of separated themselves, and didn't happen for them. So now they're looking up pretty far. The Cardinals are right at 500. The Cubs are right below 500, and the Pirates, ouch. So the Cubs are not out of this. David, they're going to come back and win this division. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
Hey, we're only 8 back in the wild card, though. I did not know that. So we are still in this thing. We are not sellers at the deadline. Just a couple bullpen guys we'll get rid of. And Ryan Tepera will be new Cubs closer. Any thoughts on the Central, David?
No, I mean, you summed it up pretty well. I thought the Reds were going to make a little more of a run, than they've made. It looked like out of the gate, they had a perfect opportunity to make up some ground and just couldn't make it happen. And that was when actually the Cubs were winning as well, right after the All-Star break there for just a minute, and just couldn't gain any ground. So, I mean, barring an epic collapse from the Brewers, I mean, it's theirs. They've made some great moves, man. That Wander Franco move. Not Wander Franco. Gosh, that's the guy that replaced him. Remind me his name. Shortstop. Used to be shortstop for the Rays that the Brewers picked up.
Arias.
What is it?
Is it Arias that they got?
No, I'll Google it here in a minute. But anyway, great pickup for them. It seemed kind of crazy that the Rays would even be trading him away, to be honest with you. And I watched him play a little bit last night, and I think he's got about 15 homers this year. Plays pretty decent defense. So they've made kind of some sneaky moves. They picked up Rowdy Tellez this past week to play first base, which I think is cool. That's been kind of a hole. Brewers are going to be tough, man. I'm with you. I think they're going to make some moves.
Yeah, Rowdy Tellez, I saw him in the game last night too, and I was like, when did he come over from Toronto? I didn't know that happened until I saw him in their lineup yesterday. So, yeah, they're making sneaky moves, and they are not done, man. They're going to make a big splash here. So, to the NL West, and JC, I want to talk to you about this a little bit. So, the Giants at the top, 62-37. The Dodgers 2 back, Padres 5.5 back, and Colorado and Arizona. But Arizona, ouch! So I just got a firsthand look at them. Wow, they are bad. But I just want to kind of pick your brain a little bit. Me and David have talked about this a lot. Everybody, obviously, before the season started, was talking Dodgers and Padres. What are your thoughts on the Giants, man? What are they doing this year? How good have they been?
I have no idea.
Yeah. See, that's
I'll
what
be
we
straight
say,
up.
though.
I know nothing about the Giants.
And there's no reason to be ashamed of that, seriously, because honestly, where did these guys come from? And that's the thing, like,
unbelievable.
Nobody would have ever thought the Giants would have been in first place at this point. And they're going to make the playoffs. There's like no chance, literally statistically, that they'll miss. They're 62-37 with Buster Posey and Brandon Crawford and guys like that who have been around forever. Evan Longoria. And, obviously respected guys, but come on, man. Are you kidding me? These guys are still in first place, David. What is going on, man? I don't know.
Gotta be their manager, DJ. We just got to start admitting it to ourselves. DJ hates their manager, JC. So, hey,
is Boshi? Is that his name, or who's their manager now?
That's who was there.
Okay, knee knock. That's all I remember him. He had a horrible knee knock.
And a size 8 hat too.
That's it.
Biggest hat. Him and Barry Bonds would fight for the biggest hat size ever. Yeah.
How much less of a budget do the Giants have from the Padres and the Dodgers?
See, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I'm pretty sure that they're definitely below both right now for definitely the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
There, though.
That's a good question.
Because you don't hear them going and getting anybody big because it's like just consistency. They don't trade. Right. I mean, they keep the same. I mean, Posey's been there for what? This has got to be 12 seasons, 11 seasons he's been playing with them since he left Florida State. I mean, It's just you never hear them trade, but they always stay consistently.
Ooh, that's right. One of your FSU boys right there, buddy.
That's my
Buster
boy.
Posey. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he is.
I love Buster Posey. I hate the Giants, but I love Buster Posey.
Same.
Kevin Gosman, too, has been awesome in their rotation, number one guy. He's pretty much been carrying that starting rotation. They got some guys that have been pitching really well for them, but the Giants are no joke. They proved it. If they're there at this point, you got to kind of give them a little bit of credit. But I still don't think they'll win that division, but they're definitely going to sneak into the playoffs as well. So, JC, here we go, man. This is kind of where we kind of come into talking about you a little bit more here. Your background. Let me start with your playing past. So give us like your past baseball playing experience from the time you were a kid up until the time that you said, enough's enough.
Yeah. So I started playing about 7 and loved it. I mean, we played all the time, got into middle school. Mom and dad homeschooled me. And so I was playing, just pick up ball at, our Wendell Robbins down at Montague ballpark down there in Chattanooga. And then just played some travel ball during the summer. Never really, I didn't go to a high school, so I never played on a high school team, just played travel ball. And that's all we did. We'd go down to Florida in the winter. Being a homeschooler, mom and dad spending thousands of dollars on motel rooms and stuff like that. And, I wanted to play college ball. I had a cousin that played at Florida State, Ryan Dallas. He actually got drafted by the Cubs years ago. He's at Purdue right now. He's one of the assistant coaches at Purdue, I think. I don't know. He was up there for a while. But Ryan went and played at Florida State. And so I always had this dream, like, I'm going to play at Florida State. That's where it was. I could sling the ball, but I just never had the skill because I never played a lot of really good baseball. And that's why I almost made the team at Tennessee Temple. And so, man, so we got there freshman year and, I came in just kind of wide eyed. I was like, I'm going to play baseball. That was the dream, was to get to Temple, play ball. I grew up in Chattanooga. I grew up watching Tennessee Temple baseball. I was in the Cheap Seats music video with Alabama back in the day, watching Tennessee Temple play. Tim Trivet is catcher out there at the Cheap Seats thing. And I always loved Tennessee Temple baseball. It just was something that I always did. And so got out there and, I felt very, very underqualified to even be trying out and, getting out there playing with the team and coming in with guys like Ben Foster and Big Tater and Ryan Hill and Coffee and, just seeing their skill level. And I was like, I'm just going to close my eyes and swing the bat and see if I can do this, and playing getting on there that first season, just, it was like, do I want to play baseball or do I want to be this singer guy? Do I want to play baseball or do I want to be Jesus in the Passion Play? Obviously, I chose being Jesus in the Passion Play. And, I always had the itch to get back out there. I'll never forget. I don't know if you guys were graduated. I think you were, but I got back out there. Jeremiah Johnson, it was at Ingalls Stadium. And I asked Coach, I said, can I come? Marcus Mortensen was playing shortstop. And guess, so y'all may have been gone by then. And I said, let me just get one at bat. I just want to hit one time down here at Ingalls Stadium. And the first pitch, Jeremiah threw that thing so fast over my head. I was like, holy crap, that ball about killed me right there. That little jerk, man. He did that on purpose. Next at bat, I bounced it off the wall and got a stand-up double. I was like, there you go, jerk.
Nice.
I loved it. It was hilarious. I was like, all right, I can die happy. I got a stand-up double. That's my Tennessee Temple career right there. We're good to go. But, baseball's always been in my blood. It's been something I love. I was a big fan of it. And then when I got to college, I was like, it's just not me. The practice, I enjoyed college, just not the practice or the school part. So that's it. But I remember that first season, it would have been y'all's sophomore year, I guess. 2000 was my freshman year. Now, that first fall semester, going to practices, running down there at that field by Bojangles in the hood, and playing out there. It was good times. But I was like, I was running with Howard. That'll tell you how slow I was. So it was me and Howard bringing up the back. I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. And him and Morgan scared the crap out of me anyhow. So it is good times.
Awesome. So I remember you used to pitch a little bit, right?
I did. Yeah, I was up there. I think I struck you out once
I think you did too.
I actually remember striking you out. Yeah, that was like. Yeah, I struck David out. You actually almost hit me, DJ. I remember that. But David, I did strike you out. I do remember that. So yeah, it's one claim to fame there. It was fun. And I do remember I struck Joe Friend out also, but he scared me so bad that I was like, okay, Joe Friend, he might beat me up. So I was like, I'm almost just going to toss this one in there for him again. But yeah, I loved it. I mean, I could sling the daggone ball. I had no clue where it was going. And I really had I had shoulder surgery 2 years after my freshman year. I had a torn rotator cuff, torn labrum. They put like a bunch of anchors in there and stuff. And, I would get out there with the team after I was done playing, and I'd throw the ball from in front of McGilvery Gymnasium all the way over there to the library. And I'll never forget it. Well, one day I was walking into LRC, and I think it was Jim Rulapal and Ryan Hill and a bunch of them. They were out there throwing, and they threw the ball to me, and I chucked it from on top of LRC to the Judgment Day building, and I felt something pop, and I was like, I probably shouldn't have done that.
Idea.
Well, yeah, don't think I'm gonna hang it up right now. That's my career. There we go.
It was so funny that we would play catch right in the middle of campus like that too. It was just kind of crazy.
I always felt real weird about it, to be honest with you. Like, I was scared that I was going to hit some passerby. So
yeah,
I know what you mean.
Let's be honest. It was. I mean, it was campus, so you could have thrown in the middle of the street there, and nobody would have known. So
yeah.
I kept closing it down. I love it.
Hey, JC, have you driven through campus any lately?
We went home. We went back to Chattanooga about 3 weeks ago, and I drove through campus. And have you seen the soccer field? My goodness. I mean, I was like, why couldn't they have done this when we were here? It looks really good. I mean, they're pouring some money into there. I mean, in fact, when we started our podcast, we did it in the coffee shop there. That was our first meeting. And I was like, this is full circle sitting here at the coffee shop,
nice,
kind of having this conversation. Campus is looking really good. That church has poured a lot of money into it. I know that they got the school now. It looks completely different. They've torn down a lot of the old buildings, and it actually looks like a campus. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. The old, elementary building or whatever that thing was where we used to have the batting cages. I was there 2 months ago, and man, it don't look anything the same.
Not at all.
Building that is it looks awesome.
Is that where the elementary was? That down by the soccer field, or was that the old Judgment Day building?
Yeah, it was right there by the greens. I never
that's
went
the
to
Judgment Day building. Yeah. That thing down in the basement, it doesn't look at all the same in there.
Right. Yeah. I don't even know if that's the same building, but it's gray now and lots of windows and stuff. It looks really nice.
I don't know. I don't remember looking over there. I know that the building up at the corner by Phillips Chapel, they have totally redone it. It's that girls prep school now, or Chattanooga Prep, something like that. So it's good. I'm glad, even though school's not there, we still have something to drive through and be like, I did go to a school here. I still had to pay bills, even though they're closed, but thought my student debt would go away when they closed.
Hey guys, I got something here for you real quick. Got some breaking news right here. Andrew Chafin to the Athletics just happened.
Really?
No, yes, sir. I was just praying that this would be the Chris Bryant day, but it didn't. It's Andrew Chafin instead for 2 prospects to the A's.
You heard it here first, because I told you 20 minutes ago he was going to get traded, and it happened. So
there it is.
First.
Hey,
it's history on frenemies.
JC, have you ever seen Andrew Chafin?
No.
He's a cross between like Nacho Libre and somebody that's got a really good bushy stash. He looks like somebody straight out of the 70s. It's pretty awesome. I was watching the game one day. It honestly, it almost looks like a joke, doesn't it, DJ? Curly hair, huge stash. It's awesome.
And he wears a blue T-shirt every day that says "failed starter." He's awesome. I love it.
That's hilarious.
So JC, what
continues?
Yeah, well, I knew that one was coming. Kimbrel's next, and then we'll stop. So I like the prospects. I
really hope Rizzo goes to the Red Sox while we're on this.
Oh, it would make all my dreams come true.
His head would explode. He's gonna if Rizzo goes to the Red Sox, he'll pull a Joe Friend and punch the wall.
Oh man, JC,
awesome.
So what other positions did you play besides pitcher?
Yeah, so I was third baseman all through middle school and high school, and then I tried right field once, but I'm not fast, and so they pulled me out of that, and so I just pitched and played third base. I like those two because you didn't have to run a lot. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Well, man, that's for sure. Like, in all seriousness, though, like I always remembered you as a guy that would always ask me how we did, and you were a big fan of of us, and we were playing, and I always
Yeah.
appreciated that a lot out of you, man. You definitely were a big fan of ours, and I always really appreciate that. And like I said earlier, I think we were off air, man. It seemed like you were everywhere. I don't know how you did it, but like no matter where you were walking around campus, you would always see you, and you'd always have that loud voice that you could hear all the way across campus, and you're always smiling, always happy, man. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun, man. You were good. You're a good dude, no doubt about it.
As a homeschooler, you didn't get a lot of people to hang out with. And so when I got to college, I was like, I'm going to know every daggone person here. Like this is a small school. This is like the 13th grade. It really was like a big high school. And I was like, I'm going to know something about everybody. And that's what I did. So I'll never forget Micah. Micah Miller had a wreck on Macaulay. We were talking about this when you said that. He had a wreck on Macaulay right in front of Warner Park. And I pulled up and he goes, JC, you're everywhere. I'm like,
True, man.
that's what the student body vice president does, Micah. He's everywhere for you, brother. I really took that position to heart.
It is
Goodness.
the absolute truth, though. So, all right, man. I want to hear your favorite Braves player as a kid first, college age second, and present third. Go.
Yeah. So as a kid, I became a Braves fan at 10 years old. I was sitting with my great grandmother, Nanny Jack. She was the biggest Braves fan in the world. My parents, they liked baseball, but Dad never really was a baseball guy. And Nanny Jack in Virginia, she was in Pound, Virginia. We're sitting on there, and she called them her boys. And I'll never forget watching them. I'm 10 years old, and Otis Nixon makes the catch out in center field, and I was just. Man, from that moment on, I'll never forget my Nanny Jack. She was shouting so loud, she almost lost her teeth. Like, she was like, he caught the ball. And it's just a memory that was burnt in my brain. And as a kid, just growing up, watching them play, I'll never forget getting a little black and white TV when they won the World Series. I had this like rollout couch bed, and I had popcorn up there, and I was just in it. And, fast forward to now, I'm really good friends with Otis Nixon. He got into some trouble after he got out, and went to First Baptist Woodstock, and they're like, hey, Otis needs some accountability. He needs somebody that knows Braves baseball. And I'm great friends with Otis. We played in the Bobby Cox Classic. It was me, John Rocker, another dude, and Otis. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is the guy at 10 years old. I'm sitting on a couch watching him make the catch with my great grandma. Wow. And now he'll just randomly call me. Every time we go up to Atlanta, I give him a call. And if he's there, he'll let me in his box. We hang out with him. And it's really cool to see. But he asks me for $20 every time now, because he ain't got no more money. So it's always fun to have Otis asking me for gas money. So Otis was definitely my favorite player up until the Sid Bream slide. That was actually my first Braves game. I was there at the Sid slide with my dad. And I loved Sid Bream from then on. Into college, of course, Dave Justice and then Chipper Jones. They were my two. I loved that. And then, as an adult, getting in and started playing, I actually picked up, I like Jay Buhner, even though he played for the Mariners. I wanted to bat like him. And so I stood in the open stance, with my elbow high. I always wanted Buhner to come over to the Braves, never did. And of course, Crime Dog, Fred McGriff, that was like the guys if I had to. Yeah, I always had to put those in there. So I love them all. Everybody's a Chipper fan. I like Chipper, but I like Dave Justice better than Chipper.
David Justice.
I just wish they'd bring back some of these guys. Like the Braves have a tendency to bring back the same like 7 players when they honor everybody. You never see guys like Ron Gann or Brian Jordan Sid Bream or Dave Justice or Rafael Belliard or Mark Limke or Jeff Blauser. Like all these guys that I remember as a kid, I'm like, bring them back. Where are they at? We always get Chipper and Hank and what's his name? Dale Murphy.
Meet Sid Bream. Came to Highland Park when we were in college there. I can't remember what.
I remember that.
Was, but you remember that? Yeah, he was there. Yeah. I got a picture with him. Got an autograph from him.
Was that 99?
Yeah, I think that was 99.
It was my senior year of high school.
Was it really?
Yeah.
That was really cool. Getting to meet him and all that. He's obviously Christian and everything like that. So
yeah. It's been cool here lately getting to meet a bunch of guys that I watched growing up, going over and just watching these guys play ball and now getting to know Otis, and that's opened up a door to get to know some of these guys at their tournaments and stuff, and just be the fat, bald, white guy hanging out with Otis Nixon. I love it.
That's awesome.
We need to get Otis on here. He could tell some stories.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, we'll get Otis on.
Anytime that you want to come on with him, we would be more than happy to have Otis Nixon on this show. We would come up with anything and everything we could to ask him and talk about his career for sure. So
you won't know what he's talking about, but it'll be fun. So.
Yeah.
He's out there, man. He just talks. You're like, all right, let's go. So,
we'll just push play and let him talk for an hour, and then we'll cut him off.
Exactly. It's like Shane Walton. So.
That's who we need to have on the podcast.
Oh,
no,
man.
Good Lord. No. That'll take your ratings through the roof.
It would. It totally would. Hey, one of the greatest moments of college is when, I can't remember who it was, who all was involved in that, but they dared Shane to jump the chairs. Poor guy didn't quite make it. Do y'all remember that in the dining hall? Racked himself on the chairs. It was.
I do not remember that.
It was one of my favorite memories from college. The whole place is chanting Shane, Shane, Shane. He takes off running, just doesn't quite make it right across the chairs. So.
Oh,
you know who the man egging that on the most was, don't you? Jason Morgan.
Jason,
of course. Of
no
course.
Doubt. No doubt.
They were like that. Jason was the tall one.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That is great.
Too good.
That's good. Well, David, unless you got some breaking news that
Well, I want to ask you guys a quick question. I won't dwell on this long, okay? JC, what's the chances that the Atlanta Braves are no longer the Atlanta Braves in a year or two, and maybe they're the Atlanta, I don't know, pick something. What do you guys think about all the name changing going on?
I don't like it. I mean, the Guardians, I
hate it.
It looks stupid, like the wings and the G and all. I hope they don't. I mean, the Braves cut the war chant because of that pitcher from the Cardinals that, got beat, and then he claimed that it was, racist and all that. So they cut it. Literally. I mean, I was at the game that night and every chair had a red tomahawk. The next night, no tomahawks, no war chant because of one dude. And now I really thought that they were doing away with it. They changed the hashtag for the A. They got rid of chop on, all this stuff. But I was at a game a couple weeks ago and they actually played the war chant over the loudspeaker.
Good,
and I was like, hey, maybe there's hope. I mean, here's the thing. They have it's just like Florida State. I mean, all my teams are Indians, but the Seminole tribe, they love the school, the school gives back to them. The Braves, I feel like they've done a lot for Indians, that they're going to keep. Part of me really hopes they keep the name. I'm just sick of the woke cancel culture junk. It drives me nuts. I'm like, it's been the Braves forever. I mean, it's I hope we don't change the name. If they do, I hope it's the Aarons or something like that. The Hammer and Hanks. We'll just go with the Hammer and Hanks.
The Atlanta baseball team. They could be like Washington.
That's it. The Atlanta baseball team.
With the Chicago Blackhawks, our hockey team, they're probably gonna, they've got a Indian for their mascot, and that's, I don't know, man. It's.
And then some PETA's going to jump on, and the Cubs and the Bears and the Colts and all these Hawks. They're going to be like, it's endangered animals.
Yeah.
So, when's it end? What's the line? Where does it end? You know what I mean?
I have no idea. It's crazy times.
When are the Northerners going to get upset and their team's called the Yankees? I mean, come on.
Exactly. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. There's no team called the Southerners.
Exactly.
It's good times.
Hey,
I love y'all's show. Y'all got a great show. I watch every episode. I love it because it's fun watching guys that we went to school with and seeing that we're all old and ugly and fat now. So it's great to see, except for Scotty. He still looks the same, but y'all keep doing good stuff. I wished I knew more about baseball stats because y'all are smart and I watch it and I take your knowledge and I make my friends think I know a lot more about baseball than I really do. So keep helping the dumb guys that love baseball but don't know anything about it. So
we appreciate it. We've listened to your podcast as well. You guys are doing awesome things, man.
Cool.
Top 1%, man. That's amazing.
It's unreal. We never would have thought when we started a year ago, just sitting around a microphone talking, that we'd have 1.5 million downloads 70 episodes later. So somebody likes it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of people that don't either. So just got to keep doing what we're doing.
That's awesome.
That's good.
Awesome.
Thanks
All
for
right,
having me
man.
on, boys.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for coming on, JC. It's been a pleasure, man. It's been a long time since we talked to you. I was excited when you messaged me one day talking about the podcast, and I was like, oh, man, it'd be great to have you on. And you agreed, and we appreciate that, man. We like to have a lot of people on here, and you're definitely
And when the
welcome.
Braves win it all, you need to get all of us Braves fans back on. We'll do a big Zoom party.
Nice.
It'd be about 100 boxes here, man.
I know. I love it.
Everybody.
It'll be good. I'll just sit here and listen.
Yeah. Well, breaking news as this podcast ends here, Andrew Chafin to the A's for 2 prospects. One more trade for the Cubs and we'll be done. And that'll be it, David.
I can't wait, DJ. Next week. It's going to be awesome.
All
Y'all
right,
don't want to miss that episode.
Yeah, next week better be a good one. I can tell you that right now. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Like our page on YouTube. Frenemies, share it as well if you can. We appreciate everybody listening, and have a great night.
See you guys.